depends on the offenses that we play. If they're out there in a lot of 11 personnel, then we can put both of our defensive ends or our rushes on the field at the same time. If they're using a lot of big people, down and distance tendencies all determine that. I know everybody sits and just counts the numbers, but you really got to look into the game and see what we're facing and see what we're trying to do defensively or as a team to be successful. But if there's an opportunity to get him on the grass, he will be on the grass, no doubt.
Thanks, Chadwick. Let's go over to Osher and then to John Reed.
Todd, as you know, people who watch football love blitzing. They love the whole idea of it. What's your philosophy on it? Obviously, you can't blitz every play. How do you approach that?
I think it depends on the protections that you're getting. Are they a max pro team? Are they a chip pro team? Why are you going to blitz if you're going to just run your face into the wall? So a lot of it has to do with the scheme we're playing. For me, I think it's got to be a situation if we're not getting pressure with 4, then we got to come with pressure. But down and distance, once again, dictates that. If you want to play man coverage, do you want to just turn them loose? Or do you want some plugger help and high hole help? So it all depends on really, how we're going about it. We got blitzes up each week, but it's just the situation in the game and if it calls for it, if it doesn't.
Thanks, so let's go over to John Reed.
How you doing, Coach? What concerns you the most about Miami's offense, and do you prepare for both quarterbacks? Do you prepare for Tua also, even though you don't know if he's going to play?
We got, what is today? What's today? Wednesday? Tuesday. Yeah, it all runs together. Well, we got a couple more days yet. To figure out, exactly, how the game plan's going in and that kind of thing. Obviously, they have 2 very talented quarterbacks. They got a really exceptional tight end and receiving core, so those are all concerns for us. But obviously, it's a short week. Will we see it too? I'm not sure, but if he comes in the game, we'll be prepared.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks, John. Let's go over to Mark and then Gene.
Todd, what do you tell your guys after 2 highly suspect, questionable pass interference calls that went against them and end up costing you, I think, 10 points?
Keep doing what you're doing. And, I think it's we had good coverage. The officials threw the flag. We're trying to look at the situations and that kind of stuff and see how we can coach it better. For those 2 plays, I think there's a lot more plays that really impacted the game as we went through it, but we're going to keep coaching them, and they're going to keep playing aggressive. I don't have a problem with aggressive penalties. I got a problem with dumb penalties, but aggressive penalties we can live with, and I think they were in pretty good shape coverage-wise.
Thank you.
Thank you. Let's go over to Gene and then to Demetrius.
Hey, Todd. Doug last week said that Miles Jack was the best defensive player on the field, and he certainly didn't have any reason to change that after the Tennessee game. Last year, you insisted that Miles was a middle linebacker. At the time, did you just say that because you didn't want to create any sort of other narrative beyond that, or did you really believe that he was going to be a middle linebacker for as long as you were coaching him?
Obviously Miles was our Mike linebacker a year ago, and at the time with the situation and the way our team was constructed, he was the Mike linebacker. So I think I answered that question at the time that fit well for what we were doing at the time. But obviously we brought in Schobert. We were able to move Miles. I think he's played very well up until this point. And but last year at the time, he was our Mike linebacker.
Is this bringing out more of his potential where he is now because of his athletic ability?
Yeah, I think it does. He's more on an edge. He's more of a spatial player, and that's what the will linebacker spot is. We've seen that when we had Telvin and that kind of stuff. A real good spatial player that can really run and use his athleticism, and we're able to get Miles in that position. And I think you see him, really playing well right now.
Thank you.
Thanks, Gene. Let's go over to Demetrius and then Sexton.
Hey, Coach. Just how would you evaluate Josh Allen's performance over the first couple weeks of the season?
I thought he's been playing really well versus the run. You see the stoutness and stuff that we've asked him to develop. He had a couple rushes where he got there, just a smidget late and stuff on against Tennessee. But I really think he's preparing well. He's mentally, physically, he's in great shape, and I think we're going to continue to see him grow. As the season goes on, obviously not having preseason games and stuff like that, it's taken him a little bit of time to really show everything he's got, but we do see him improving each and every time he steps on the grass.
Thank you.
All right, let's go 2 more for Wash. Let's go Sexton and then Shipley, and then we'll go over to Coach Gruden.
Hey, Washer.
Hey, what's going on?
Good to see you. 2 games in, run defense looks remarkably better. I think you're a half a yard better. You gave up 4.3 on average per carry last year. You're 3.8. What do you see? What's the difference? How much better are they?
I think you got to give credit to our players. They're doing a really good job with the fundamentals. I think the biggest thing is we challenge them each and every week that, hey, we got to win the physical battle up front. And I think we have the type of players that can do that. I like how we're knocking the line of scrimmage back. We're playing with good technique, and it's not just the defensive line. You really see our linebackers, reading and diagnosing, and when it's run, they're getting downhill. So it's a credit to them and Coach Collins and obviously Rebs with our defensive line. But there's a mentality right now with those guys that we're going to do everything we can to stop the run. With our front guys, and then obviously, hopefully, we can handle that pass game, which we got to do a better job of, and I got to put them in better spot to be able to handle the pass game.
It seemed at the end of last year like there wasn't a lot of confidence because it wasn't going very well. Would you say the confidence in the run defense has been restored? I mean, those guys believe every time.
Yeah, there's no doubt they have confidence in themselves up front, which is really good to see, and you really see the athleticism, but more than anything, you see the strain. I think to stop the run in the NFL or at any level, you have to be willing to get in there and grind and strain. And the mentality with that defensive line right now is they're doing that. And that's a credit to them.
Thanks, Todd.
Yep.
Thank you, Brian. Let's go over to Shipley for the final question with Washer.
Hey, Coach. Was Caleb Vaughn, was him not playing a ton of snaps on Sunday, was that more of a game plan because you guys wanted to get some run stoppers in there? And then a follow-up on that, just what did you think of his first career NFL sack?
It was a situation with the personnel groupings that was dictated by Tennessee. Obviously, if they go big, we're going big. And I think that's some of the things that are helping us stop the run. But when the situation dictates to get obviously him and Josh in the game, we're going to get him in the game at that point in time. And as the season goes on, it all depends on what kind of offenses we face. We're not facing just little people or 10 personnel or 11 personnel. People are trying to get big on us, which Tennessee did at times, and we got to match that size. So that's how that turned out on Sunday. His pressure that he got, it was a really nice inside move. We had a pressure called at the time. He did a really nice job staying on his straight line, being able to get to the quarterback and making his first sack. I know he was excited on the sideline, and we were extremely excited for him.
Thanks, Coach.
Yep.
Thanks, Shipley. Thank you, Washer. And if everybody can just hang tight for a couple minutes, we'll have Gruden on here hopefully in about 2 minutes. Thank you.
All right. Thanks, fellas.
Thursday night game, Wash. You don't have as much time to work on that game plan.
That's why I got to go now.
Can you hear me, Jay?
Yeah.
All right, let's go ahead and get started. Let's go to Mark Long and then John Reed.
Jay, what are the challenges of a short week with such a young team?
Well, it's tough because as an offensive coach, you want to try to add some new things that fit what you're going against. Up against Miami, they're a different style of defense, so that calls for some different style of plays. But being a short week, we want to also make sure these guys know what to do so they can play fast. So that's the biggest thing, is trying to find that balance between being a little bit different, but also challenging our guys and make sure they can play fast.
And then how pleased are you with just the 2-game start here when you're close to averaging 30 points a game? I think it's the highest 2-game start for this franchise in 20 years. But just how pleased are you with what you guys are able to do right now?
Yeah, I think there's room for improvement. The one thing I'm most pleased about is the effort these guys play with. And they play physical everywhere. The receivers have done a great job in the running game. I mentioned that week 1. And they're very unselfish. So far, so good, that is. We're spreading the wealth around. A lot of people are touching it, and I think the players are genuinely happy when we have success, and it doesn't have to be an individual person for them to feel that way. So they play hard. They're unselfish. They're playing smart right now. So I think there's a great upside because of that for this season. But we got a long way to go. We're going to have a different challenge every week, like you mentioned. Everybody poses a different challenge with great personnel, great coaches. So we got to be on our stuff and continue to play well together.
Thanks, Mark. Let's go over to John Reed and then Osher.
And Mark kind of answered my question there, Coach. But red zone, spreading the wealth around in the red zone, how much does that help with your play calling? Because you're going down 7 times and you've scored 6 out of the 7, which is, what do you attribute that to? With so much different weapons, or what?
Yeah, a little bit of that. I think protection's been outstanding when we get down there. We had a hot route, free unblocked player that Gardner recognized. He lofted up a perfect pass to Chris Thompson, who that ball could have been thrown not many places. It was a perfectly thrown ball, and Chris went up and got it, made a big play. So that's part of the red zone. Tight window throws, guys making plays. That's a major part of it. Right now, we're doing that. And like I said, we're going to see different coverages, more drop eights, more man-to-man, tight man-to-man, different leverages, and how we can attack those type of defense will be how good we do. But obviously, the red zone start has been very good. But it's only 2 games in.
Thanks, Jay Reed. Let's go over to Osher and then D-Rock.
Hey, Coach, how much did Laviska stand out to you during the draft process? And is it fun game planning with him? Because it sort of looks like fun.
Yeah, it is fun. He's a great kid, number one. He works his tail off, and he likes the attention. He likes the ability to move around. Being a young player, we can't put too much on his plate right now. I still want him to play fast and still learn the nuances of being a wide receiver, very good receiver first, but to just sprinkle in a few plays with him in the backfield and doing some different things with him. I know he enjoys it, and he's good at it. I mean, the rare thing for him is running between the tackles. I mean, he ran over a guy last week, and he's a physical runner with the ball in his hands, but he's a valuable part of our offense. We just can't put too much on him because we want to keep him around for 16 weeks and many, many years after this. So, but he's a pleasure to work with. Great kid, works hard, and loves football.
Thanks, Osh. Let's go D-Rock and then Jamal.
Hey, Coach, what do you like about what you're getting out of O'Shaughnessy and Eifert? And are those guys kind of pretty much interchangeable for you at this point?
They are. They're very similar in the way they play. I think they're both very smart, which is critical for tight end play in the National Football League. You got to be smart because there's so many things we do in running game, motions, formations, and then in the passing game, you got to know all the run concepts, how to block, the down blocks. I mean, where you're going up to, and then obviously the pass concepts. There are a lot of them, so they got a lot to learn. So both of them are very intelligent. They know what we're looking for in each individual route. Saw James run a great choice route. Tyler ran a great seam ball right down the middle of the field, red cover 2 man, and broke it right down the middle, made a great catch. So their versatility is key, and they both can do a lot of things that can help us out.
Gardner's touchdown pass to Chris Thompson you mentioned before, that looks like an incredibly difficult throw to make. How hard is that throw, especially when you get someone coming at you in your face like he did?
Yeah, I think it was Clowney is all. Just throw it. We're not going to block Clowney on this play. Just throw a perfect pass to Chris Thompson in the corner of the end zone. Yeah, that's easy. I think just having a trust that Chris would go get it. He hadn't known Chris for very long, but he knew the coverage. He knew that he had a chance, a window of opportunity there to loft it in the corner of the end zone, and he did that. That's a skilled throw right there, a gutsy throw, and obviously Chris had to beat the linebacker that was covering him. So on both sides of it, both ends of it, was a great play by both of them.
Thanks.
Thanks, D-Rock. Let's go Jamal, Cassidy, Gene.
Hey, Coach. The offense has kind of found its groove later in games. After getting off to a slow start in those first two games, do you alter the game script coming into this one, or even alter or talk to the offense about how they approach those early drives?
Yeah, a little bit. I think the first week we had that critical face mask penalty, which wasn't a face mask call. It was a 15-yarder. It knocked us out of our first drive. Last week we had the unfortunate tipped ball that Colin thought it was to him, and he put his hands up. He's not many times have I had to worry about a receiver tipping balls as a corner route, but Colin's 6'6". I didn't prepare for that. So those are two drives that stopped us right there. Then obviously the sack that we took was another big one. But I think overall we just got to stick with our plan, what we want to do. I don't really I don't really change a whole lot. We do have a lot of ways to go after defense. But the key, I think the reason why we've had success for the first 2 weeks is our third down percentage. Keeping drives alive. If you miss on 4 or 5 of those third down plays, you're talking about averaging probably 13 or 14 points a game as opposed to what we're doing. So the third down has been impressive. Gardner's done a great job on third down, the receivers, tight ends, and linemen, picking up all the different blitzes. That's been the most impressive part of our game so far to me as a coach. But that's something that has to continue because you won't get those opportunities to do a lot of different things with LaVisca and the things that we talk about unless you're converting on third down.
Hey, one more from me, Coach. You got so many receivers that with talent. Does that almost make your job a little bit harder trying to make sure that you get all these guys an opportunity to get some touches?
Yeah, no, it's actually great, man. I think this is a conceptually based offense, really, and coverage dictates where the ball goes a lot of times. And it's nice to know that if it goes to your third or fourth progression, it's a heck of a player getting it, and in the zone coverage. And man coverages, we'll have our obviously our premier matchups that we don't want to work. But for the most part, we like to spread the ball around. You have to, I think, this day and age. It's hard to single out one guy unless he's just a superstar. But defenses can take him away. They can bring a safety down and double him. They can do a lot of different things to him. So it's important for everybody else to get involved in zone coverages, finding the holes in zone, different players doing it. So all the guys show a skill set that they can do it. And it's good to see that they're all producing when their number's called.
Thanks, Coach.
Thanks, Jamal. Let's do 3 final questions for Coach Gruden. Let's go Cassidy, Gene, and then we'll finish with Shipley.
Hey, Coach. 350 plus yards put up on Miami by the Patriots in week 1, over 500 on Sunday. What do you see there in their defense that you can take advantage of?
Well, there's some big plays that were given up. I think they'll address those things. Obviously Buffalo, Allen made a couple good plays with the legs, scrambling and find some people. They broke coverage a couple times, unfortunately, but I'm sure they have good coaches over there. They'll get all that stuff fixed up. But I think when it comes to Miami, I think you're going to see a lot of man-to-man, and that's what we're going to have to beat for the most part. So they got some good skill over there, obviously. And they're 0-2. They're going to be looking for a big-time win to get off the snide a little bit. So it's going to be a great challenge for us again, like all these games are. I mean, every week you have a different challenge and a different style of defense that you have to play and attack and work towards. And it's never easy, that's for sure.
Thanks so much.
Thank you, Cassidy. Let's go Gene and Shipley.
Hey, Jay. Early on, Gardner looked like he made some little bit of a couple suspect decisions. I was just curious on the deep ball to Chark. Even though Chark leaped up and got the ball, were you a little bit leery when Gardner released that ball, because it looked like Jonathan Joseph didn't really pay much attention to the ball, but Chark uses athleticism. Did you think that was the right place for him to go with the ball at that moment?
You know what? We took a shot with DJ on that one. They played a coverage that we talked about. They played a lot last year. They didn't play it in their first game, but we tried to prepare for it. And, both corners were really soft. But I think whenever DJ has position on a defensive back, I know Gardner has a ton of confidence that he can put the ball out there, and DJ, at least worst case scenario, it'll be incomplete. Obviously, best case scenario, we get the completion or a PI. So he has a lot of faith in DJ. Some of those throws in a double coverage, obviously you don't want to see, but when it comes to a chance for 50-50 ball with DJ, I know that Gardner's going to give him some opportunities, and that's what he did. So I have no fault at that whatsoever.
Follow up. Could you just talk about Gardner's propensity to come back after sometimes some very questionable decisions. He had a chance to get picked twice in this game, more than he actually did. And right after those instances, he would come back and make a terrific throw. Did you talk about
he's
his
one of the,
ability to do
yeah,
that?
he's great at forgetting the last play. That's for sure. He does not let one bad play affect his next play, and that's critical for the quarterback. You cannot feel sorry for yourself or start thinking negatively about the next play coming up. You got to let it go and move on to the next play and attack it as its own entity like it is. And he's great at that. I'll tell you what, he's no guilty feelings for him now. He's going to come out and he's going to attack and continue to do what he's supposed to do. Quarterbacks are going to make poor decisions from time to time and poor throws. That's just the nature of the business. It's a tough game to play, and he does a great job of not let one play affect his next.
Thanks.
Yep.
Thanks, Gene. Let's wrap up with Shipley.
Hey, Coach. I know a lot of the focus of the running game has been James Robinson, but how impressed have you been by the Lions' run blocking through 2 games, especially the second half on Sunday when they were without Linder for most of the half?
Yeah, I think Tyler came in and did a great job, and that's important. I think I mentioned it before, right after training camp. My reason for optimism offensively was our offensive line play, and they're well coached. Coach Warhop does a great job with those guys, and they're dialed in. And all of them like football. I mean, you can tell they practice and they concentrate and they like the physicality of it. And it's important for me to continue to feed them somehow, in the running game, because they like to get out of their stance and play physical brand of football. So it's my job to make sure we keep that mentality, that identity up, and that'll open up everything else, the play action passes, the quick games and all that. So I've been impressed with the offensive line. I know that they're young and they're developing still, but very talented and very good to work with.
Thanks, Coach.
Yep.
Thanks, Shipley, and thanks, Coach Gruden. We appreciate the time.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
A couple updates for you guys today. Obviously, injury report will be the same as yesterday, going out around 4 o'clock. We're doing a jog through.